Hey there, and welcome to the Flourish and Health Podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I'm so glad that you are here. Today, I am going to talk about something that wouldn't be so exciting. I get excited every week to be able to bring this podcast to you, but this part of what I'm going to talk about is not probably something I'd get all excited about, except for the fact that there is a solution, that there is a change that we can make when we're walking through disappointment and we have the tools we need to walk through them well. And so this week, I'm going to talk a little bit about disappointment and how we can reframe that disappointment and bring it into something that is good, that is wonderful, that we can learn from and grow. So let's jump into the episode. Hi, and welcome to the Flourish and Health Podcast. My name is Stephanie Book, and I am so glad you are here. My hope is to help others see their life beyond where they currently are right now, move away from places where they feel stuck, and empower them to move into a flourishing life. Together, we will learn to recognize our true identity in Christ and apply a reframed mindset to combat the lies that we've been believing about ourselves. We will walk the journey of flourishing in our health, in mind, body, and our connection with God. I'm so excited to walk this journey with you as we create new habits of thinking and turn toward a life that is flourishing. Before we jump into the episode, I wanted to make sure that you know about all the different resources that I have available for you for free. The Faith and Flourish Entrepreneur Toolkit is something that I have really worked on, and I would love to be able to gift it to you. It has all different areas, from affirmations, for prayer, for ways of reflection, and so much more. And I would love to give that to you for free. So just make sure to respond to this podcast by putting toolkit, or message me on Instagram at steph.book, or just shout out somewhere on social media. You can find me on Facebook by my name, or in my Flourish group. And of course, all the links are always in the show notes below. But I want to make sure that you have all the resources you need to grow personally and in your business. So make sure to check those out. So today I want to talk about disappointment. No, it's not something that's really fun to talk about, but it's something a place where I have really learned how to step in and grow through disappointment, look at things in a different way, and reframe my mind to approach things in a different way. And something over the last few weeks in my home has made me really think about how we approach disappointment, and really ways that I can continue to learn and grow in this area as well. So for those of you who don't know, my son is a performer. He's a singer, dancer, actor. He was a musical theater major in his schooling, and he has really been fortunate to be able to perform in all different places, from cruise ships to theme parks and so many other places. And he has quite the life, because as a performer like that, you definitely need to be able to handle disappointment, rejection, and all of those things. Because when you are a performer, it's not like a traditional job where you step in, you interview for a job, you get accepted in the job, and then you have it. You go through all those steps, and then you have a contract, and it goes for a certain amount of time, and then it stops. And guess what? You get to do it all over again. Once in a while, you have some people that might get rehired on and on for something, but for the most part, and performer's job is either performing or auditioning, sending in those auditions and looking for the next job that they have. And so we were kind of talking through this, and he actually had several opportunities where he was auditioning for several different contracts at one time, and had all these different auditions they had to put in place where you're singing and you're dancing and you're doing, I think, sides or slides. I always forget if it's an L or not, but there's a lot that's involved in there, right? So he has to learn all those things, then perform those on camera, and then send them in. Or sometimes there's ones where you prepare ahead of time and then you go live and do those auditions. And a lot of times live auditions is the next step. And so he had several different opportunities as he finished one job and went back into looking for what was next. And he had some auditions, and of course I'm his mom, but I do think that he's very talented, and he has had jobs along the way. And I know that it's not just his mom saying, "Oh, you're doing a great job," because I know that he has a great talent, and that God has really given him a gift for that. And so, as his mom, I got to hear him practice and rehearse and be able to send in those auditions and know that he did a great job. And we were trying to explain to someone else about how to understand how a job of a performer goes. And for someone that's a performer, I think we came down to a puzzle piece. Like when you look at a puzzle, you have all those different puzzle pieces, right? And every single piece is, unless they're cookie cuttered the same way, which is not most puzzles, most of them all have their unique shape, one that fits into the other, that they've been cut in a certain way. So he kind of described as when he's looking for a job, let's say there are 24 different puzzles and there are all these unique puzzle pieces. And each one of those puzzle pieces fit within a specific puzzle. And the puzzle piece itself is great. It's got talent. It's beautiful. It's shaped just how it's supposed to be. Just like God creates us exactly how we're meant to be, right? We are uniquely created. We are designed exactly how we're supposed to be. So as an individual piece, we are wonderful. We are beautiful. As a performer, he has all the unique abilities and qualities that God has given him to do his job well. But you have those 24 different puzzles. And I don't know about you, but if you ever done a puzzle, sometimes you have those pieces and you put them in that spot and it looks like it's going to fit in there, but it doesn't quite fit. Or you think it is and you put it in together and then later on you're like, I'm missing this piece. And you find an error. You're like, oh, that piece there, it actually, I think, fits over here and not in this space. And then all of a sudden, boom, that puzzle comes together. And sometimes with life, so it's not exactly a perfect kind of, what's the right word? Anyway, it's not exactly the same model, maybe, or example. This might not be the best example, but you get the idea. And I think this really helped the person we were sharing this with, but it also helped kind of put in perspective for me and now I think for other people. So sometimes our pieces are exactly designed how they are, but they don't fit within the puzzle. And maybe there's 5 puzzles. There's 24 puzzles overall, but there's 5 puzzles that need to be filled right now. And that one piece doesn't fit any of those 5 puzzles. It might fit one of those ones down the road when one of those 24 puzzles open up. But right now, that one specific piece, though it is talented, though it is designed exactly, it's beautiful, it is not exactly in the spot or fitting in the spot where it needs to be right now. And so I thought that was a good way to do that. So my son did all of those auditions and he's heard nothing. Now that's normal in this business as well. It's not a very fun business at all because honestly, you do all these things, you do these auditions, you work so hard, and sometimes you don't hear anything. You may once in a while get a no thank you or we got it, but then other than that, you don't always hear anything. Sometimes you don't hear anything at all, and it doesn't mean that again that he wasn't talented or didn't do things well. But it just maybe wasn't exactly what the director or the hiring agent wanted or needed to fill that. Maybe someone is blonde and blue and he's dark hair, dark eyes, or maybe you need someone that's really tall and he's on the shorter side, right? So we have all those different uniques. Now he's perfectly designed how he is, and he's meant to fit in a specific puzzle for him. But right now that puzzle might not be one that's open to him. So I'm telling you all this because I watched my son as he had these different opportunities, and I thought he would be suited for any of them, and he did a great job on all those auditions that he sent in. And I know that he could handle any of those jobs that he was given. But so far, he's heard nothing. But he didn't sit in that disappointment. Yes, we want to feel a little bit that when we're disappointed with things, when things don't happen the way that we want them to, it can hurt a little bit, right? We can feel that a little bit, but we get to have that moment of choice of what we want to do with that disappointment. And so I watched him take that disappointment and move it toward action and look at it in a different way and understand that his puzzle piece is perfect how it is. It's designed well, and he can continue to learn and grow and beautify his puzzle piece, as he learns and trains. But he knows that the right timing will come at the right time. The right job will be opened up at the right time. And so he made another decision, and he decided that he was going to move forward and he was going to move to New York City and do that for a while and get some more training and do another thing, another hard thing, another exciting thing in part of his career. And so he left on Friday to go to New York City, and he'll be there at least for 6 weeks in a sublease, and we get to find out how all those things go, and he can enroll in some dance classes and make new connections, and he's already got most likely a part-time job set up and all of those things, and those take big risks. He could have sat here and he could have been in sadness and thought, well, it's not fair. Why didn't I get this job? He could have quit. He could have stopped by now. He's had great things happen and some disappointments along the way since he's been out of school for a while. But yet he's never stopped. He always continues to grow. He wants to learn how to be better. He's going to take some classes when he's in New York, trying to become better at his craft. And he so could have looked at that differently. He could have just given up and said, forget it. This is too hard. Nobody wants me. I don't have what it takes. And just held on to that disappointment and didn't move forward. And he didn't. And I'm just so proud of him for that. And I think that's a good example for us. I know that over my journey, I have learned how to battle disappointment as well. I mean, we've all been there. We've all had those moments where we're really looking forward to an event that was happening and then it gets canceled for the weather or for some reason, or you're really looking forward to doing that coffee date with a friend and your kid gets sick and you can't go, or school gets canceled and a snowstorm starts and you're stuck at home, or maybe you were planning to you were hoping your business was going to go really well, that you had some big goals for yourself and the things that you wanted to see, and then things shifted and changed and it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to be, right? We've all dealt with disappointment. We all have those moments in time where things do not work out the way that we wanted them to. I mean, that's part of life, right? But we get to learn how to embrace that obstacle as a way and look how we can move forward from those things that we're learning. And when I was at one of my conventions a couple years ago, one of the leaders was talking, and she was talking about disappointment, and she was several different things. Her talk was amazing. And one of the things I remembered is that we don't want to tattoo disappointment or disappoint on our arms. Like, we don't want to wear that disappointment. When we're tattooing our arms, we get to just tattoo things that maybe are meaningful to us, that are part of showing parts of growth or parts of change. We don't want to tattoo. We don't want to carry around our disappointments with us everywhere we go. We want to look at the things that we've overcome through those challenges. So look ahead at the things that were created because of those disappointments. And so I think about her words, and I'm not putting it as eloquently as she did in that situation, but it stuck out with me, because how often am I trying to carry around those disappointments, those failures, those times where I just did not feel like I had what it takes, or the things just were not working out how I wanted them to. And it's really easy to get into that moment of disappointment, the woe is me, and feel like, oh, forget it, right? We want to give up. We want to be in that space of just like, forget it. It's just too hard. But on the times that we don't do that, when we move forward and we decide to focus on what we can control and move toward that becomes so much richer in the whole place. And a lot of times the whole situation becomes better. And sometimes we really, really want something and we have our sights set on that and we think that is going to be the best thing. Just like I think one of those contracts would have been amazing for my son, but maybe what he's going to go through now and the growth that he'll learn while he's in the city will maybe prepare him for something even better, that the timing will be just right when he will step into his next contract and be more prepared, or have learned or been able to walk through some different other growth experiences to make him even a stronger performer and a stronger in his mental, his mindset and his health and all the different areas. And so I want to encourage you to look at the things in your life that maybe you could I would encourage you to look at the things that maybe you feel like you're out of control. Maybe there are things that you could reframe your mind and look at things a little bit differently. What is something that you could do to change the perspective of what you might be going through right now? And I know going through hard times is difficult. We don't like walking through things that disappoint us. Believe me, I don't either. I've had my share of disappointment. I've watched how things that I thought were really going to go the way I wanted them to, and they've been smashed, like dreams have been shattered, or loss of people that I thought would always be around that are no longer there, or a business that I thought was going to soar that has taken a turn, or so many different ways, right? And so we all have those parts in our lives where disappointment comes up. But we get that chance, we get that choice to reframe it. We get to look at what we can control. And when we focus on what we can control, it really helps change the perspective of what we're going through, because you're able to look at the things, celebrate the things that you are growing in, and be able to look wide open for the possibilities that will come through those decisions that you've made through that disappointment. And so we don't want to carry that heavy burden of disappointment anymore, but we get to look forward to what might come out of that disappointment, might come from that obstacle, because we grow the most in those obstacles. So I've been reading the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and I don't know why it's taken me so long to read it, but I have loved listening to that. And listening, again, it's that same idea of how are we approaching things? What are we speaking over ourselves? How can we reframe the things that we're saying, that we're thinking about, and shifting them towards the growth through the change that we want? And so I hope that today might have given you a little bit of ways to look at what you're going through and look for those opportunities of growth. Look how that disappointment could be not something that you wear as a badge on your arm, but more of tattooing the things that you have learned through that disappointment. Look, and if you're going through a big disappointment right now, what are the steps you can take now to move towards the next step? What do you get to focus on to create a different outlook on that disappointment, and not dwell on what you can't do, but really step into what you can create through those situations? So I hope today has been an encouragement to you. I hope that you can see that disappointment isn't the end, that we get that chance to look ahead to what we want and make all the difference in the outcomes that we see in front of us. It might not change the situation, but when we have that positive outlook, when we are able to focus on each little millimeter step that we can make to create something new out of that disappointment, we will become stronger and most likely walk away even richer than when we started. Friends, I thank you so much for listening today. I hope that today was helpful to you. Please pass this on to anybody you think it might be helpful to, and just continue to stick with me. And I hope that together we'll reframe your mind and be able to help you see that you are valuable and worthy of so much more. Take care.
Thank you so much for joining me as we walk towards this life of flourishing. I appreciate you taking the time to listen, and would love, love, love for you to take a moment to subscribe to my podcast and maybe even leave a review. Likes and reviews like yours will allow my podcast to be seen by others and hopefully help them as they walk through their own journey of growth. So until next time, please remember that you are amazing, my friend, and you are meant to live a life full and flourishing. Take care.